Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for joining us today on this cool evening. So, if you didn't know, this is the Gamifying Bitcoin panel, and I have some lovely guests here. Some are more lovely than others. And we're really short on time and we started a little bit late, so if you could do me a favor, in one word or less, tell me who you are, what you do. Okay, but in seriousness, try to keep it short. So go ahead and introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself and what you do in terms of gamifying Bitcoin. And we'll start with the one right here, Andre Neves.
Andre.
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Thanks, Michael. So my name is Andre. I'm the co-founder of Zebedee. We are implementing Bitcoin into gaming, into the gaming industry. So we create infrastructure, platform, SDKs, and tools to allow game developers to plug in Satoshis into their games.
And Carlos?
Yeah, hi. My name is Carlos Roldan. I'm the CEO and founder of Satoshi's Games. And we're also driving Bitcoin mass adoption into gaming. So we have a launcher, SDKs for rewards, liquid NFTs, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
Awesome. Hey guys, I'm Desiree Dickerson. I am VP of Business Operation at Lightning Labs, and I've kind of inserted myself into this whole Bitcoin gaming ecosystem because I love it, and I work on a cool project called Mint Gox with some of these folks, and yeah, just here so I don't get fined.
Thank you, Desiree. So, to me, gamifying Bitcoin, it means, coming up with new use cases, exploring new ideas with making Bitcoin exciting, coming up with ideas for withdrawals and deposits in and around the Bitcoin space. And maybe that's not what you think about when you think about gamifying Bitcoin, but if you think it's something different, please tell me what you think, and then also, what are you specifically doing in the realm of gamifying Bitcoin? We'll start with Andre.
Sure. So I think the coolest thing about gamifying Bitcoin is there's a lot of talk around Bitcoin and price and trading and this, and I think we need to see Bitcoin as a technology as well, right? It's through the use of Lightning Network, we can do feeless transactions at any level, at extreme volumes, and it all just settles instantaneously. So, for example, in our most recent product called Infuse, we get to introduce new dynamics into the game for CS:GO, for example. If you've ever played Counter-Strike. It's a first-person shooter, really famous one. And what we did is we introduced Bitcoin and Sats in various ways. Specifically, we have this mode called Survival Mode, where you come in and your Sats represent your life, right? So killing someone, shooting them, earns you Sats from them, and dying sort of gives them Sats immediately. It sort of changes dynamics because in CS:GO you would camp and sort of shoot from far and earn those points. But now with Satoshis, we have physical coins that represent value, that represent money in the game. So we're hosting the Mint Gox esports arena here in the Bitcoin 2021 as well. So if you want to check that out live, if you want to play it, feel free to drop by it. And it just really changes the notion of skin in the game, right? People really feel focused and competitive when playing these types of games. And so I feel like gamifying Bitcoin, it's just scratching the surface right now, but I think there's a lot more to be explored, and I'm excited for game developers to use our platforms to then bring in the new things that we haven't even thought of.
Hey, thank you, Andre. And Carlos, so what do you think? Are you kind of on the same page as Andre, or?
Yeah. Absolutely. My perspective is Bitcoin is the bridge between, in my opinion, the Bitcoin mass adoption through gaming. Right now, gaming, people have been interacting with games since over 20 and 30 years, and Bitcoin just leverage the power of that interaction. That's what we try to do at Satoshi's Games. We have our own Steam, which is Elixir, and we have the collection of games that they all interact within one Bitcoin balance. And because we believe Bitcoin is the digital money of the internet, that's how we unify them. So totally agree with that perspective.
Nice.
Yeah, I think bridging off of what Carlos said, something we think about a lot at Lightning Labs, and our CEO, Elizabeth Stark, is super passionate about is bringing Bitcoin to the next billion people. And to me, this new generation of gaming, and even these older generations, like my mom is now playing a lot of mobile games. Mobile gaming is targeting older audiences, so these are becoming very social platforms. My mom and I play Scrabble or whatever, Words with Friends together. And so these games are becoming these inherent social networks to these newer generations and even older generations. And to me, it's like, okay, everyone's playing games. Like, everyone has games in the palm of their hand. Like, how can we reach these people? And we talk about, like, you know, how do we get mass adoption? And I truly, truly believe Bitcoin or gaming is how we're going to bring Bitcoin to the next billion people. And so, like, that's how I became super passionate about that. It's like, okay, this is the most logical on-ramp to putting Bitcoin in people's hands, and that's gaming.
So Desiree, you mentioned, you know, finding those new people and finding people that maybe wouldn't normally, you know, even use Bitcoin. But I know, for instance, for Zebedee and maybe, you know, Satoshi Games, what have you seen in terms of reaching, you know, new audiences, and where are they from, and, you know, what kind of users do you see?
Yeah, I'll come in. So it's actually interesting. I was going to piggyback off of that. A lot of new gamers, since we launched the CSGO integration, a lot of just general gamers who have never even touched Bitcoin have just, you know, come in, and I find it fascinating that they immediately know that they want to earn those sats, but they don't really know what sats are. So we have people on our Discords coming in and saying, hey, I want more stash, and I want more stash, and give me more stash. And they don't even know that that is Bitcoin, right? They understand the value nature of it. And so, you know, a lot of gamers are coming in and really being introduced to Bitcoin the first time, and they don't have to go through the hurdles of, you know, acquiring it, on-ramp, buying it. They're just playing the game that they're used to playing, and now they're like sort of earning some value back from that game in whatever way it comes through. And it's just, you know, now they're incentivized to learn from the technology. They want to know what is a Satoshi, what is Bitcoin, and it just goes from there, right? So it's great to see users being onboarded through gaming as the very first step.
Yeah, I mean, in our perspective in Satoshi's games, we have both sides of the feedback. From the perspective of gamers, that they just passionate about it, and basically in the case of one of our games, Light Night, one of the most impressive achievements we had is for a pre-alpha stage of a game, we are able to, by giving away Satoshis to incentivize early users of the game, we are able to retain like 1/3 part of the paying customers of the game on the daily basis, and that's quite hard for the traditional gaming industry. I mean, that doesn't happen. We're talking about a magnitude of multiplied by 3, the retention. The other side of the balance that I want to emphasize is in the game developers, like the ones that are implementing games with our technology and, you know, the liquid network assets and everything. They find extremely potential the integration and the safety, especially the safety to deploy Bitcoin games. Nowadays, if you are building on a game, no matter if you're an indie developer, you want to have more retention or traction, your options to safely in terms and conditions of the just few monopoly of launchers that are available in the market, you have kind of a very difficult situation if you want to implement crypto technology into a game and make it sure your game is not prohibited from Steam or Epic Games Launcher. So most of the indie game developers that are willing to implement Bitcoin into their games, they have no safety at all. So that's why we are working as well with them closely to make it happen.
I think one interesting thing to like kind of look at it in a different light is like even some like is using gaming for other things, where it's like, I mean, now we're seeing like Fold and Satsy and a lot of these like new rewards apps like actually building gaming into like incentive models. So you have like the Fold spin wheel, and Satsy has a spin wheel, and then you have also I think Fold is working on an AR thing, and I think that's really, really interesting. I mean, my dad now is like addicted to like spinning this wheel, and so I'm like, okay, if gaming can be a way to incentivize behaviors, like we start opening up all these like new models for like advertising and marketing. And I think that's something cool that we've been experimenting with MintGox is like, okay, how can we actually get these users like directly interacting with these companies who are like sponsoring MintGox, and like how do we break down the fourth wall? And like that's something I think that nobody else is doing, and we've really been kind of like building towards something really unique there.
So Desiree brings up, you know, gamifying Bitcoin through other means than just video games. She brings up the Fold. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people here who have at least played the Fold game, you know. But do you have any thoughts on the gamifying aspect of spinning the wheel or whatever it means to be gamifying in that aspect?
Sure. It's a known thing from a product perspective. You need to gamify your product if you want users to learn new user flows and sort of paths, right? How to best learn from the user so that you're sort of teaching them how to use it. I think the notion of gamifying Bitcoin is very much in that sense. We have this very complex technology. It's brand new. It's well, for some of us, it's brand new. And it's sort of this massive stack that you need to learn, understand. It's a new unit of account. There's all these things. So if you gamify it in the sense of the fold and Satsi that we were just talking about, it's a much easier onboarding process. I think I also wanted to touch on something from MintGox. Lightning specifically in terms of Bitcoin allows you to do things that are not available elsewhere. So if you're trying to transfer value across a game, you can't use a dollar API, right? Like it's not a thing. The cheapest thing right now to buy online is a 99-cent app, and when it hits your account, it's 129 because of taxes. So if you're able to send one Satoshi back and forth in a game, that is just inherently new. That is the new thing. So what we're excited at Zebedee is to provide that new sort of capabilities that don't exist. Talking about MintGox, we have a game called Bitcoin Rally that basically we stream that game live and we put a QR code on the screen, and audience members can scan that QR code, make a 10 Satoshi, 100 Satoshi Lightning payment, and directly affect and influence the gameplay of other 15 players playing live. Right? So you have an audience member breaking the barrier by the use of Lightning Network, and I think that's just one of the, again, we're just scratching the surface. This is one of the use cases. The gaming ecosystem is massive. We talk to people all the time. A lot of people want to be game developers. A lot of people want to just be streamers, and they just want to watch other people play games as well. So we're excited to sort of be at the beginnings of this new world, but we're very excited for the new capabilities. Right, doing the same thing that already exists it's not that exciting. Let's jump to the next level.
Yeah, and one thing that's also super interesting that I would love to get everybody's take on, sorry to ask a question myself, is one thing that's cool in Bitcoin Rally that I love, where it's adding Bitcoin to the game is actually changing the game mechanics and the behaviors we're seeing from users in the game. And one thing is, I'm sure everyone here has played Mario Kart, and you can pick up coins in the game. Well, in Bitcoin Rally, those are actually Satoshis, so you're actually picking up real Bitcoin in the game. And there's people who come to these tournaments and know they're not going to win the top 3 places and win those big prizes, so they're screw it, I'm gonna just go around the track and pick up as many of these coins as I can, so I can at least still cash out 1,000 sats. I might not win the 10,000 sat pot, but hey, whatever. So we're seeing people not even finishing these races because there's this new model in these games, and so I think there's a lot of really cool experimentation that can be done. So I don't know what you guys see for the future of that, because I'm really excited to see how this changes the gaming industry in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, in my opinion, I totally agree with the perspective of constructing a robust gamified model of a game is important, but I want to go one step after, because once you have a very solid and robust model, gamified, and is very attractive with Satoshi rewards and extra rewards, incentives, and the game design, it matches the economic design of the game, and you have that gamified process, the next step in the game is the distribution of that game. And that's what I wanted to emphasize as well, the topic. It's not very complicated to create nowadays a nice game with Bitcoin rewards. I think where the big challenge is, in the best case scenario, that big game succeeds and has traction. If you don't have a distribution tool that can publish your game safely, your game may not have enough visibility, or it may be banned from one of the distribution platforms is available there. So I think that once you solve the barrier of having a gamified Bitcoin model game, how you can solve those issues around the distribution process is part of the game, as well as implementing Bitcoin for rewards, of course.
Thank you. And we're talking about different transactions and stuff. I'm curious, can we talk about what does it look like in terms of the actual transactions that take place? How big are these transactions? How many of them? Do you see a big range, 100,000 Satoshis and 1 Satoshi kind of transactions? Maybe you can talk a little bit about your platforms, mainly for Andre and Carlos. What does it look like? I kind of know for Zebedee, disclaimer, I work at Zebedee, but talk a little bit about what it looks like in terms of the actual transactions.
Sure, I'll take it. So at Zebedee, we have a set of games now. Like I mentioned, CSGO is the biggest one, of course. But we have other more like indie games that we're using to showcase, right? Look, this is what's possible. These are the capabilities that we offer. What we've seen is, I believe last month we topped 170,000 transactions in the platform, which means people are just making tiny transactions of 10 sats to 100 sats, hundreds and thousands of times a day, right? And this happens a lot of the times. And even though the network and the platform supports us to do, like for example, right now there's CSGO tournaments happening where inside of the game there's 250,000 sats. So there are large transactions, but a larger majority is like this, the 10 to 100 sat base there. And again, it goes back to my point earlier. You cannot do that with any other current financial instrument. It's just you're unable to. So what we've seen is definitely high volume, low amount transactions is what is like the main crux of it right at this point.
Yeah, in our case, in terms of transaction based, what is completely different is opposite. We have more low volume and high transaction, even using Lightning. Our average ticket is around $20, but we process an average of $15,000 per month. And it's quite interesting, especially with the light night game model, which we've been working on that game for over 1 year. And even though as a gamified model and in terms of transactions gives away, you complete daily missions, you unlock Bitcoin as part of a battle pass, you keep completing weekly missions, you play tournaments with the community, you keep earning and stacking sats. But it has, so far we have processed only on the light night model game with Bitcoin rewards over $100,000 just by making Bitcoin transactions.
So if you don't mind, I want to make sure we have enough time.
Oh, yeah.
The last topic I want to kind of talk about is, NFTs have been gaining some traction in the Bitcoin space. It used to be, just for Ethereum kind of stuff. As we know, Liquid started essentially making NFTs available on Bitcoin, and some people are using these for their games. I would be curious if anyone wanted to talk about what they think about this and just see if there's any conversation here.
Carlos's company is doing exactly this, so I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I mean, NFTs I think is the only available tool to protect game developers against black markets out there. There are several thousands of black markets. They don't protect their game assets, especially on CSGO and other highly concurrent or high traffic games. And by having a digital certificate or a digital copy that stands for a representation of a digital asset that you own, you have, it brings extra security. And it just not gives the security for the customers. It also brings a transparency community markets that instead of those black markets damaging your assets, you make them part of the game. You make them players in the game. So those black markets become community markets. They are no longer black markets anymore. They are just another distribute market that creates different entry points to distribute that NFT. However, I think the technology used to back up the infrastructure for those NFTs should be as much Bitcoin focused as possible and agnostic from the perspective of toxicalism or whatever you want to call some different views. So that's my perspective.
Yeah, if I can just add, I think the most interesting part for me is, again, not specifically to NFTs, is the notion of virtual economies, right? Like these games are siloed economies. You have World of Warcraft with your gold, you have V-Bucks and Fortnite, and these are value that people are putting in and never able to take out, and you can't go cross games. And I feel like the second we introduce Bitcoin into each and every of these virtual worlds, they become a massive virtual world. And virtual economies, in my opinion, are going to be so much bigger than physical economies because they don't have physical constraints, right? They're not limited by geographical location or reach or anything like that. You can just, I don't know the numbers, but I believe World of Warcraft has like billions of dollars in terms of monetary network, right? So I think what's interesting is Satoshi's games work perfectly fine with Zebedee, and Zebedee works perfectly fine with Satoshi because it's the same network. It's an open network, and open networks always win. That's the thing you can talk about any P2P decentralized network, that's always been the case. So to me, the cross-game compatibility is by far the most exciting thing.
That's the future. We're going to reach the metaverse eventually with Bitcoin.
The metaverse is kind of a buzzword, but yes, the metaverse, right? Let's do the metaverse, yes.
Love it.
Cool. And I know there could have been a situation where we want to put something up on the screen, or
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
I think we're.
Yeah, I have a video that I'd like to show up about how our distribution platform for Bitcoin games works, which is Elixir. So if it would be possible to play, it would be great.
how long is that video?
I think it's 1 minute, so...
Too long.
Wow.
You needed the 15-second version. All right. we have to maybe wrap up, actually.
Yeah.
So let's do closing thoughts, and if you want to share anything else, and sorry that we're low on time. We'll start with Andre and work our way down. And if you want to talk to someone directly, they should be able to have a chance to rebuttal at least. But feel free to have closing thoughts. Yeah.
I mean, just closing thoughts. I think we're scratching the surface. There's a lot more to be introduced. There's a lot more development. There's a lot of stuff in development right now that we'll be sharing soon. Come by the Mintgox Esports Arena. You'll see all of this live in action. Go to zebedee.io, download our wallet, our Infuse app, and join mintgox.com to participate in this growing community of Bitcoin gamers.
Yeah, and from my side, you can guys check out what we do at satoshis.games and our distribution tool to safely allow Bitcoin game developers or crypto game developers to deploy your games at elixir.app.
Awesome. Yeah, and I want to echo what Andre said. Stop by the Mintgox Esports Arena. I mean, we are giving away over a Bitcoin in prizes in all of our games today. You can jump in, you can play. Literally, if you play any of these games, you are guaranteed to win sats. So stop in, check it out, actually feel the power of what we're building. And I mean, this is the future of gaming.
And I'm Michael Tidwell. Thank you so much for coming. And I promise you, I did not pick that picture for me. I do not think I look cool in that picture. I don't know who.
Cool.
So thank you. Yeah.